Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Afron Framble, and here are the things I'm looking forward to in April 2022. I'm a little late on this one, as it's the 4th today. I do want to switch things up a bit, and I want to go into things that I'm personally looking forward to. I just figured it wouldn't make much sense to try to list off just a bunch of games, movies, and shows I have no intention in which to partake. I can take a bit more time talking about those which I am interested in. So it makes more sense to have a shorter video, possibly with things I'm excited about. And if you want, you can comment any suggestions of things you're looking forward to, even if tastes don't necessarily match up. And if I see something that maybe I might be interested in saying, like maybe I'll take a peek at that. It's kind of hard to see anything new coming out and being like really excited for it unless it's like, it's going to be in the MCU, for example. And like Moon Knight came out and I was really excited for it even though I had no idea who the character was. I didn't really know much about Oscar Isaac, but I was really excited about it cuz he looks like a really cool character. Um so so those are the things that I want to cover, just sort of a smaller amount, maybe expand on it a little bit. So for games, there are only two that pique my interest, and they're new versions of games already released. That's not completely true, but I'll explain. The first game is Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga. I don't know if this is a complete revamp. So going back all the way to when they released the first Lego Star Wars game, it was just the prequel trilogy. This was a great game, a collectathon, and was pretty laid back, not too difficult for the most part. It was a chill with your friends and play through the story type of game. The best part about it was that Star Wars Revenge of the Sith had not come out yet, and the game featured characters and scenes that were teased. They were teased in the game that were going to be in the movie, like General Grievous. We've never seen him before, and then we saw him in the movie, and I thought he was just great. He was a pretty intriguing character, sort of your stereotypical bad general guy, and um, he but playing the game first before I saw the movie, it really made me wonder who that character was. So anyway, I'm digressing a lot, but it was a good game. It wasn't as fleshed out as current Lego games that have full voice acting nowadays. So it didn't. I don't think it really spoiled the movie a lot. Thinking back on when I was watching the movie, I didn't feel like it was spoiled for me, because it was an abbreviated parody of the story, and we all knew what would happen to Anakin at the end. We just didn't know how it would happen, and what it would look like. So when the original trilogy game came out, following the success of the first Lego Star Wars game, they followed the same formula. And when they combined all 6 episodes into another game, they basically used the same two games and smashed them into one game with a bunch of new levels in one overworld where you can go to the different areas, whatever. It's possible that for the Skywalker saga, they'll just tack on 3 more new episodes for the sequel trilogy. But I have a feeling they're going to update the whole thing. I could be wrong. Honestly, I have no idea what to expect. It would be nice either way, but something new with Lego is always welcome. And I feel like they may update things to look a little bit more like the way it is now with Lego games. I'm not sure about voice acting. It just there's some charm into just like little cute character voices throughout. The second game that really caught my eye is Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition. This was a game that came up as a possible option for streaming with my friends. You should hear more about that soon. That'll be a different channel. But this game is basically the original Chrono Cross with more bells and whistles. I don't know too much about it. I think there's a soundtrack with some additional tracks on it. All that good nostalgia fodder for people who like the original Chrono Cross. Now, I never played Chrono Trigger. I know Chrono Trigger fans are not partial necessarily to Chrono Cross, or they think it's a sequel, which it does seem like a sequel. But according to the director of Chrono Cross, Masato Kato, I believe he didn't want to see he didn't want people to see it as a sequel. So apparently, I experienced the game as he intended. The best part about Chrono Cross was the musical score, by the way. I feel that the soundtrack of Chrono Cross just barely beats out Final Fantasy VII as the best game soundtrack. Fight me on this. Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2 was delayed until spring 2023. Surprised? No. Disappointed? No, not really. I know they're going to take the time to make a really great game, and I'm okay with that because I know Nintendo. They're known for that Nintendo polish, and I know they delay a lot of things, especially Zelda games, is notorious for that. But when the games release, they're generally really good. Um, I am excited for possibly like a new dungeon format. Like they could have done a lot better with dungeons. Um, I'm thinking maybe I'll do a separate video on kind of things that I expect or things that I hope to see in Breath of the Wild 2. Um, so yeah, no word on Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2. E3 better be good this year, and that's also maybe possibly another series of videos that because I have a lot of thoughts on Final Fantasy VII Remake and the next part, and Breath of the Wild. So those are still RPGs, but they're like sort of radically different ends of the spectrum, especially in the way they're played. So I just like having that, not just for the sake of variety, but they both of those games kind of had the relative time frame to where they came into my life in the 90s when I was really getting coming full steam on my video game experience. So I do have some thoughts on either of those next installments. So I think I want to do some videos on those. I've just decided. So, okay, enough about games. Let's talk about movies. Morbius has already come out, and according to reviews, it's underwhelming, confusing, and the director spoiled some plot elements, I guess. To be honest, I'm not super into these Sony villain anti-hero universe movies. I did like Venom and Venom 2. I was more excited because of Carnage. I really like Carnage. I kind of wish he would have been in sort of a Spider-Man Venom team-up movie, but I wasn't really looking forward to it. Like I didn't see it, but I didn't really care to see it. So, uh, and I don't. It's not necessarily that I think that these movies aren't good. Um, I've always been basic, and I see them as an obstacle the superheroes have to come overcome. The villains, um, they have the story behind them, and then the superheroes have to beat them. I love the concept of a bunch of villains teaming up in a movie. That's one of the reasons why No Way Home was so successful, not just um, because of the Spider-Man, multiverse element, but because the enemies were, so numerous, and they called back to a lot of things. I just liked the fact that there were a bunch of villains that had to be defeated. So if I've sympathized with each of the anti-heroes and followed their story in each movie, the motivation for the superhero to beat them would have to be very strong for me to not feel like mommy and daddy are fighting. I'm supposed to root for the superhero, I think. So it seems like it is too much of an attempt to let us see things from the villain's perspective. It's easy enough in just a superhero movie to build the motivation of the enemy and to make us feel a little bit like, oh no, our hero is losing. Is he going to overcome this challenge, and how is he going to do it? Um, Strangely enough, thinking back to Dragon Ball Z, uh, that's kind of a scenario I think they did it really well. The build up to, I think specifically when Vegeta and Nappa were coming to, or they came to Earth, and Goku was trying to make his way back from King Kai's planet. It was one of the biggest anticipations I've seen in a show up to that point, and I remember literally standing on my feet in excitement when I finally saw Goku come and take on Nappa pretty easily, and then fight Vegeta. So I think a little bit of that is where you can get fans really excited. The hero could possibly get taken out. Like you need to. It's kind of like what Infinity War did when it just like killed off a bunch of people. Like, and then we didn't know. We knew it had to be resolved in Endgame, but we really didn't. We weren't expecting that. And knowing now that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that anything can happen, anyone can die, uh, and they may be brought back later, whatever. But we're kind of led to believe that anything is possible, and that's kind of hard to do for movies because it's the Hollywood movie is the good guy wins, gets the girl, whatever. So anyway, rabbit trailing. Speaking of heroes, next weekend Sonic the Hedgehog 2 is coming out, and that I am looking forward to because Jim Carrey and Tails and Knuckles. I think they're doing this right. I really think, and I feel it. If they start adding characters one by one to movies, and then they just wait for Knuckles for like a third movie, I'd say maybe that would be a little bit too little, too late. But including both Tails and Knuckles, with Knuckles as Sonic's main sort of challenger, other than Robotnik and manipulated by Robotnik, that's the story. It's simple, it's entertaining, it is what it is, and it's not trying to be any more than that. And that's a movie I'd rather watch than Morbius, though I'll probably Redbox Morbius when it comes out. Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore comes out April 15th. That's another cash grab. I don't think because Dumbledore in the movie means it's going to be any more popular than The Crimes of Grindelwald, but we'll see. I'll probably wait to see this one. It's on Redbox as well. On Netflix, kind of another shout out to another Marvel franchise. The Blade trilogy is out on Netflix. This is interesting because I believe Blade is going to be in the MCU, the character Blade, soon, and the Netflix Marvel shows have transferred to the new mature side of Disney Plus. So I wonder how that's going to work out. If Blade does come in, is going to be like, I mean, I don't think they're going to use Wesley Snipes again, but it's interesting that based on the rights that Netflix can have the Blade trilogy, and then Marvel maybe will be coming out with Blade soon, and maybe it's a timed thing. Maybe the rights were not clearly defined. Netflix and Disney said like, okay, yeah, Netflix, you can have that because it's so old, maybe, or whatever. Um, but kind of like those movies. I'll have to watch them again. I don't really remember too much of them. I just remember Ryan Reynolds as another kind of, you know, mouthy, like Merc with a mouth kind of character. Because he kind of in all the superhero movies, he sort of plays sort of just the one character, but which is why it was great that he became Deadpool because that was the character. And of course, Better Call Saul reminds me that I need to finish Breaking Bad. There are some good classics as far as movies go, and I'm not really too much into any shows that are coming out with like another season, but there's nothing groundbreaking for April for Netflix. I think that's gonna come when Stranger Things comes out with season 4. Similarly, Disney Plus is on its way with Moon Knight, as I already mentioned. I just had to rave about the show again. Oscar Isaac is incredible. I know he was already regarded as an impressive actor, but I wasn't really aware of him before this. I think I may have heard the name here and there, but I'm really, after seeing the first episode, I'm really looking forward to these episodes. Strong start with Moon Knight. Well, that's it for entertainment for April 2022. Thanks for watching.